Enchanted Tiki Talk is brought to you by Kingdom Strollers. Our premium stroller and crib rentals are delivered straight to your Disney or Orlando area resort. It couldn't be easier. Book yours at kingdomstrollers.com. And Mouse Pros. Let our travel specialist plan your next vacation. Our concierge level service gives you the perfect hassle-free vacation. Get your free quote from Sean or any of our magical agents at mousepros.com. And now, it's show time!
Your attention, please. One show for you to see. One for you and everyone. Oh, look at all the people. Pay attention, it's showtime.
I am always ready, as you say, to put on the show.
My goodness, you're all staring at us. We better start the show rolling.
Wait! We forgot to wake up the Glee Club.
Aloha. Come to the Tiki Room. Get your Expialidocious tickets right here.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Enchanted Tiki Talk. This is episode 343 for the week of March 9/10, 2021. 9/10. This week on the show, we are a 60% house. Keith is not able to make it. He was stuck at work late with health inspectors coming, so they made him stay late. He got home late. And Matt had some issues to deal with his children's, I think. So they were not here. But you do have me. You also have Brian, and you also have Jesse, who Jesse is at a mattress convention. Like, Jesse, what do you guys do at a mattress convention?
Well, we just get around, and jump on beds. That's what we do.
I was going to say that. I'm
jump
like
from mattress to mattress.
Jumping around mattresses.
Like an elf?
Yeah, we test the durability.
Oh! So there's more than jumping.
Yes, that's right. We roll on the mattress, we stand on it, we stomp on it, we do all kinds of things.
Do you ever have, like, the Navy come in and, test the beds out?
In the Navy.
Well, I can't, well, let's see, there's another word I was thinking of, and it just hit me, and I can't, for the life of me, put my finger on it.
All right. So, yeah, thank you.
That's a sticky situation.
Yes, it is. So you're not home, so thank you for joining us so we can make it three people instead of me being stuck with Brian. Brian's got nothing going on, so there's nothing to talk to him about. Let's see what else. Oh, yeah.
I rearranged my office.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I moved my desk.
You moved what, over 6 inches?
No, I kind of moved it from one side of the corner to the other corner.
Oh.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, okay. Are you still doing do you still use so Brian last year made a Magic Band reader that would play music in the shape of the Mickey that you have in the parks, and it lit up and played music, like it would say welcome home or dun, 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 whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still play with it much?
Yes.
Yeah.
Once in a while I'll walk in, I'll take my Magic Band and I'll scan it. Nobody else will do it.
You don't know? You don't wear it to work? Leave the house with it and check out and then check in?
No. If I wanted to, I'd go ahead and program it so my lights turn on and off or something like that. But yeah, it's a cool little novelty thing.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Have you seen those things, Jesse?
I have.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks. All right. So with that, there's some big news today, but the one thing we do want to cover, Steve's going to cover a lot more, but and this topic as well, is that they announced that Ratatouille is opening October 1st in 2021 for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. So it looks like they're opening it to draw people away from the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, well, it's going to be they do say that it's going to be a 4-park anniversary. So I'm sure we're going to be expecting things to show up at Animal Kingdom. I'm not really sure what. There's no rides or attractions. Maybe the Lion King's coming back at Animal Kingdom. Maybe they'll do that in October.
Yeah, it's supposed to come back in the summer.
Oh, in the summer. That's soon. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know what they're planning on doing for Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, but looks like Epcot they're gonna open up Ratatouille.
Yeah, I mean, I get why they're doing it. I do. And, I understand that they want to draw out, but this ride has been constantly pushed off. I mean, it was supposed to open last year.
Yeah.
And of course, we know, things happened with, the current situations, but I mean, I really think that they should go ahead and open that up. Especially since it was teased. It was actually teased that it would be spring of 2021. And now it's going to be fall of 2021. So it's like, and I get it, again, the whole celebration, and they had other plans to have other things open during October 1st for the celebration. But I just think that, it would be a great thing to have in Epcot right now to kind of draw people there, for that non-part time, get them there ahead of time, because you're going to have people that aren't going to come right away around that October 1st period. And then you're going to have an influx of people that are going to come now and try to get that reservation to go to the parks. So
yeah, it definitely would make more sense if you decided to open it up in the summer or earlier, because you have people who are sitting around like, you know what? I'm not going to go in the summer. Well, you know what? Ratatouille is going to open up in the fall. Let's go in the fall instead. And you know what? The more people are going to be vaccinated, so let's just wait till the fall. So now you're going to have higher crowds in the fall, but you're not spreading it out through the rest of this year.
Yeah. Yep.
So I understand their thought process, but even if the attraction was open already, you have people that are specifically going down there to be there for the 40th, the 50th, and they could go do Ratatouille even if it was open, because more than likely that's going to be their first trip there anyway.
Right. Yes.
I don't know. I guess they just don't want to employ.
I think, I just really think they're doing it because, like you said, Magic Kingdom's pretty much booked. Well, are they going to release more? Or are they going to go ahead and get rid of the whole park reservation thing in time for the 50th? Who knows?
Yeah, they said it's going to be there all year.
Yeah, so it's going to come down to they need to go ahead and add some stuff at the other parks to kind of draw it in. And a lot of people are like, oh, should I go ahead and do Magic Kingdom, or should I go ahead and go to Animal Kingdom? Oh, I mean, I'll go to Epcot because of something new. So I think they know what they're doing.
I guess
a lot of people are not going to be happy.
No, they're not. We were hoping for our next trip to be there, and then it's just not going to happen. But it's like, we lucked out when we went in March of last year. We got to ride Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway the next day after the second day that it opened. So we really lucked out in that regard, and then nobody rode it for months. So I was hoping that if we do end up going down there this year, that it would have been open.
Right.
But, I guess that's not going to happen.
That's a fantastic ride, by the way.
It is.
Gosh, it's so good.
It is.
Yep.
Good. It's very cool. All right, so I am going to take a little break here. Brian's got to go to the little boys' room, and Jesse's going to jump on his mattress, and I'm going to have Steve take it over. Steve, take it away.
Hi, Steve from Disney Diary here. This is What's News.
Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which I'm pleased to announce will open to guests on October 1st in the France Pavilion.
That was a big announcement that came out today from Disney CEO Bob Chapek during Disney's annual board meeting. Ratatouille debuts October 1st as Disney World kicks off its 18-month 50th anniversary celebration, which my guess means nothing else like Space 220 will be opening until the anniversary kicks off. The meeting gave Chapek the opportunity to give stockholders highlights and updates as to what's going on. The big question on everyone's mind was, when will Disneyland reopen?
We're encouraged by the positive trends we're seeing, and we're hopeful they'll continue to improve and we'll be able to reopen our parks to guests with limited capacity by late April. We look forward to publicizing an opening date in the coming weeks. While last week's announcement stated that theme parks may open starting on April 1st, the fact is it will take some time to get them ready for our guests. This includes recalling more than 10,000 furloughed cast and retraining them to be able to operate according to the state of California's new requirements.
And what about the cruise line?
As you know, the cruise industry had been quite hit hard by COVID. And as of right now, we don't have any definitive information in terms of when we'll be able to reopen up our cruise lines. We're anticipating that with some luck and the increase of the number of vaccinations out there and the encouraging trends that we're seeing, that maybe by this fall, we might be able to have some limited operations of our cruise ships.
Now, the meeting also gives stockholders the opportunity to ask Chapek some tough questions.
Only Carano, who is considered a conservative, was fired from The Mandalorian. Regarding Disney and a blacklist, this is the way?
Well, thank you for your question. I don't really see Disney as characterizing itself as left-leaning or right-leaning, yet instead standing for values that are universal, values of respect, values of decency, values of integrity, and values of inclusion.
Are you guys looking at firing Kathleen Kennedy or asking her to resign and promote somebody like Filoni or Favreau or both as a co-counsel?
We've been absolutely thrilled that we can have the kind of creative talent in our company, the likes of Kathy Kennedy to run Lucas. And we look forward to having Kathy directing the activities of the entire Lucasfilm organization for many years to come.
Finally, the Swan and Dolphin will be holding a special Spring Food and Wine Classic, the first time they're doing this. It will be held on April 17th, and you just might see me there because it's kind of a special day for me, shall we say. Please visit us at DisneyDiary.com for the latest news. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Disney Diary. Now, back to the Tiki Hut.
All right, we are back from break. I want to thank you, Steve, for all the news. Lots of news that was happening. Hope you guys enjoyed that segment. Unfortunately, Kathy Kennedy is still going to be singing around for Star Wars, but I digress. This week on the show with the guys not here, we've decided to take over and make it a DVC show. It's all about DVC. It's all about the cool kids on the block. The uncool kids are not on the show, so they're the ones that are missing out. And the first thing we'll quickly talk about is we'll talk about our home resort. I know that, Jesse, you've mentioned it a few times. You are Polynesian. I am Wilderness Lodge in Old Key West, and Brian is Wilderness Lodge. So,
and Old Key West.
Oh, you are Old Key West? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, that's funny. Yeah. So, quick, I just, as DVC, we all know the reasons why we purchased it, but number one reason why you chose that resort as your home resort, Jesse?
Okay, so for me, it was, so the Polynesian was the first, I guess, all-out trip that we had ever paid for as a family. And I had wanted to stay at Polynesian because we had always stopped by it on the monorail just to check it out. And we'd say, one day we want to stay here. Because, it's not cheap to stay at the Polynesian, especially in the summertime. But we splurged one year, and while we were there, we started thinking about, hey, how can we come back and stay here all the time, without just basically taking a second mortgage. So we literally took a second mortgage almost, I guess, because we bought into DVC. Yeah. But I think for us, it was the smart choice because we knew how many points we were going to, we could kind of pre-plan ahead of time, to say, okay, for the next, 50 years, this is where we're going to come on vacation and use these points. And so that was a huge draw for me to go to the Polynesian because one, it was the resort I fell in love with. And I still love it. It's still my favorite resort. There are other resorts I really like, but I think Polynesian still tops out all of them in my eyes. So,
yeah, you can't go wrong with it. I always wanted to stay at the Polynesian, and there was no way I was ever going to be able to afford to spend a night there. When they announced DVC, I was very excited. I'm like, I'm finally going to be able to stay at the one resort I've wanted to stay at, and I've stayed a few times, and we love it as well. It's one of my top two resorts. Wilderness Lodge it's always like Wilderness Lodge and the Polynesian are my two favorite. And the Wilderness Lodge, the reason we purchased there was because it was Sharon and I, our first deluxe resort we've ever stayed at, and we loved it. And Old Key West we just bought there because it was cheap points at the time. We bought that directly from Disney. Wilderness Lodge was a resale, so we went with Old Key West just because it was cheaper, and we still like Old Key West, but we definitely would choose Wilderness Lodge over Old Key West any day.
I think that if we had stayed at Wilderness, because we didn't stay at Wilderness Lodge until after we had actually become DVC members, but I remember after. Now that is, if you were to ask my son, that would be his favorite. I think my wife, it's grown on my wife too, because I mean she was Polynesian, and she really liked it, and I do. I think I hold it in high regard. So I definitely think Wilderness Lodge kind of takes away, especially when you go during Christmas time. Wow, it's just fantastic.
Wilderness Lodge is my second favorite resort to stay at. I love walking around, listening to the tiki music, just seeing the tiki torches, and just enjoying the beach. It's the best place to see fireworks too. You actually can see the shapes of the fireworks, how they shape to like cups and hats and stuff like that. You really can't see that in the park, and the view is so amazing. The last time I went to Disney, I made sure I just hopped on in an Uber so they could take me to Polynesian so I could sit on the beach. And I sat there for 2 hours with a cup of coffee and just watched the water and looked at Magic Kingdom. It's so relaxing there.
It is. And Jesse, he's actually stayed in the cabins on the water, whatever they call it,
the bungalows.
The bungalows twice. He's been there. That's how much money this guy had.
Man, I don't know. That's. I gotta shake your hand. I've only seen him from afar, so
Well, the thing about the bungalows, I was very lucky. I mean, I'll tell you my story. I just don't want to drag out my whole why and then, but I'll try to keep it as short as possible. So, I bought into Wilderness Lodge because it was my daughter's first trip. I used to rent DVC points, and I did it 3 times. I decided I can't do this anymore. I'm putting $4,000 into renting, or I could buy in for $17. So the first time I rented, I was going to do Saratoga. It was affordable. It was a nice big villa. The villa for the treehouse. And the girl talked me out of it. She goes, "Well, there's no elevator, so do you need somebody who needs to take an elevator?" I'm like, "Yeah." I goes, "Well, how about if you?" She asked me, "What do you want? What's your perk? Why do you want to stay at Bay Lake?" I want to stay at Bay Lake too. Because you can walk to Magic Kingdom. It's easy to get there. He goes, "How about this? Try Wilderness Lodge." And I'm like, all right. So I tried it, and a lot of my daughter's first happened there. Her first word was there. She actually walked up to the elevator and said, "Button." She knew exactly how to get to her hotel room. There were so many memories in that hotel room. Even the villa, the smell of the villa. When I walk in there, I take my mask off and just smell it. I love it. So when it got to the point that we rented there 2 other times, and we always got a 2-bedroom. Then finally, I'm spending about $5,000 on these rentals. I'm thinking I could just buy into it. So I looked into it, and I got a really good deal of points for $17,000. I was like, perfect. Well, the whole situation about the bungalows was when I bought into DVC and I signed a contract. The guy who sold DVC did not know that he banked an extra 210 points into the year before, so he could have made more money off of it, but he didn't. So, and plus it had to be used by June, and it was already May, so I had to use 210 points in a month. So, and I already had a trip planned in May, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going all out and getting the biggest rooms possible. So I got 1 night at the bungalows. I got a 2-bedroom over at Animal Kingdom, and I went crazy on just spending those points. I actually had points left over that I banked over to RCI, and I stayed in Paris. Well, I stayed there for 1 night, and I was really looking forward to the fireworks on the balcony. Well, the speakers didn't work, and I learned from my mom, you fight to the death. So I called up the front desk. I'm like, the speakers aren't working. I came here for the speakers. I came here for I came here for the music. Just sit down on the porch to watch the fireworks. It didn't work. Okay, we'll give you half your points back. No, I want them all back. So fighting. They gave me all my points back, and I went out. We just kind of like left it alone and went to bed. Whatever. Next day we were out to eat, and they called me up saying, "Do you mind if we could give you another night there?" I'm like, "Yeah, definitely." So I got all my points back plus a free night at the bungalow.
Wow.
And they made sure, they said, we tested out the speakers before, when we tested them, we cleaned up the place and we tested the speakers just to make sure that it worked for you. And it was nice. I mean, I'm not going to say it was an amazing bungalow, place to stay. I wouldn't do it again. I really want to stay at the Copper Creek ones, but it was a nice experience to do, and definitely would be probably one and done.
Yeah, the Copper Creek ones, I've done a tour on them. Those are great. I would definitely stay there for a week. I mean, I would, if I had the points or the money, whatever, I would stay there for a week, and I would enjoy just staying there, laying in the pool in the back, sitting outside every night. I would absolutely love that.
And that's the best part about the Copper Creek ones. I thought the Polynesian was kind of cold feeling, especially the splash pool outside was freezing cold. It was small. It was definitely the timing too. I guess it was a really cold night, and there were cobwebs all over the place because nobody rents those out. They're always empty.
Right.
Cobwebs all over the place. We actually found like 3 cockroaches too.
Yeah,
I heard that cockroaches are kind of normal in Disney.
Well, yeah, it is, but it's also a problem there because it's over the water.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say bad things about it. I thought it was beautiful, and actually, the second night we stayed there, they were testing out a new firework projection, and we heard fireworks in the middle of the night, and we were able to walk on the patio area, sit down and watch them do like the color coding and the black and white lines on it, and kind of like project do the what's it called, the calibration on the castle. It's a really cool experience to see.
Oh, it's neat.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. Oh man, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I would take either one. I would definitely prefer the Wilderness Lodge one, but I would like to stay in the Polynesian ones too.
Wonder if we could get them to go for giving us one to do a live show. We'll say, live from the bungalows at the Polynesian. We'll see.
We could pull their points together.
Yeah, right. And even the people at the Polynesian were kind of like, "Ooh, the bungalows! Wow, you're staying at the bungalows." It's like, wow, because I guess they don't rent them out that much. I mean, it was like 210 points for like one night.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, wow, the bungalows.
I've heard of people just getting randomly upgraded, where they get that, and forever. I'm always like, whenever I get that text, I'm like, check to see if we got an upgrade, And
the people I've talked to, like the person next to me, that had the bungalow next to me, and they're so close together, you could talk to your neighbor on the patio. And they're like, most of the time, she worked for Disney, because most of the times people rent these out with friends for one night, to have a party, and that's it. They don't really do a whole week, like a one night kind of like a bachelorette party.
Right.
And they'll do a bungalow, and they'll order food. That's what we did. We ordered food, and we ate food on the patio, and we watched fireworks. And we, we took, and we had invited friends over. I lived in Florida, and they took over a bedroom, and just 3 bedrooms, and yeah. It's nice.
Probably didn't call me.
I did call you, and you were busy. You were there.
I was?
Yes, you were.
I was.
You were there yes, you were. You were there that weekend. I asked you, and you were too busy. I think it was a short vacation, and I said you wanted.
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah, short vacation. I remember. You were there, and we didn't even meet up. Yeah, that's all right. It was. I know. I forgot why, but yeah, you were. Your schedule was really tight.
That might have been one of those 3-day ones that we did.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. All right. So, we had that discussion about DVC. Really, what we should do is we should do a show where like people can ask questions and whatnot. So, like we can announce that at some point. But if people want to email us questions, send questions to podcast@tikitalk.com. And we could definitely do a show completely on, based on your questions. But The one question I always get or don't get is people don't realize with DVC is like it's not your typical room where the cast member is going to come in and clean your room. Your mousekeeping is going to come in and clean your room for you every single night. They don't do that. They don't even change your towels every day. So the one thing you have to realize it's more of a vacation home in regard that someone isn't just going to come in and clean up after you all the time.
Yeah,
so
trust me, it's really nice to see one of those carts outside and no cleaning ladies around, and you run for that cart and grab towels. It's like extra towels. It gets to the point sometimes if you have like 5 people and they'll give you like 5 washcloths, you have to reuse that thing for like 3 days. You're like, I need a fresh washcloth, please.
Right. Yes. And I always ask. I say, can you please have somebody send extra coffee? Please send extra towels. Please send extra everything.
But they'll charge you for it. Like I don't think they have it. They're not doing it now. But in the past, I missed it by 1 day, and they wanted to charge me, but then they waived the price. But it's like
ever ask them when they're in the hallway. They won't charge you.
Oh no, they won't. But I was with my parents. They're like, "Oh, can you call to see if they have extra towels and stuff?" And I did. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we have to charge you." But then the next day, the cleaning lady was outside, and we asked them, and they were nice about it. Even the small bottles, the small H2O stuff.
Oh, I love those.
Yes.
You know what? I did not think I was gonna like the pump in the shower, and now I get disappointed when I don't see the pump.
Yeah,
I like to bring home the bottles, but I like the pumps in the shower.
Yes, I same thing. But so like I know one time we had checked in, and I think they did not change the pump. And I called down. I said, hey, I just need somebody to do it. And instead of changing the pump, they brought a bag. I don't know why. They brought a bag full of the H2O products in. And in fact, I kid you not, here out of town in my in my travel kit, I actually have some of that. It's my travel shampoo.
Nice.
I've got a ton of it left over. So
I love.
Yeah, I use the moisturizer and I put it on my face, and my daughter's like, "You smell like Disney."
Yeah, so that's the big thing is housekeeping when it comes to DVC. Another thing with DVC is like there is an endpoint. It's not like this goes on forever. Like Jesse had said, for the next 50 years he's going to have it. There is an endpoint, so it's not something that you're going to have forever, and it's not your typical. Oh my god! I just said it. It's not your typical timeshare.
Timeshare.
Yeah, it's because it's not. A lot of times, like you talk to somebody, and how do you explain DVC to somebody? Say it's like a timeshare, and then you see that their eyes and their mouths open up. I'm like, but it's not a timeshare. It's not your typical timeshare where it's you buy it for $5,000 and you're selling it for $500. More than likely, you're going to sell it for more than what you paid for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does depreciate. When I bought my timeshare, the price I paid for it was close to the same price the guy paid for it when it first went on sale.
Right.
It doesn't depreciate. And the one thing I do tell people, if you have extra points, do not be afraid to rent them out because they will rent fast and it's good money in your pocket to pay your maintenance. Don't let those points expire. Rent them out. There's plenty of rental places online. It's a great resource. I've rented my points at least 4 times, and one time I put them up, and within an hour they called me up saying someone wants your points.
Wow.
And it's fast money.
Yes. Sadly, I don't think I'll ever be able to rent mine because I think we use ours. I've been looking into purchasing a second, ownership contract. Probably, not direct. For those of you listening that don't know, you can buy direct from Disney, and in fact, to take part in some of the ownership perks or benefits, which are not guaranteed, by the way. So just remember that. Ownership perks can come and go. For instance, the ability to pool hop, or the ability to, purchase a gold annual pass. In fact, the only reason I still have an annual pass is through DVC. We've had it for the last couple of years, and I've renewed, And I almost did not renew this last year, and I'm kind of glad I did because, again, I'm not sure, who knows when annual passes will come back. But those are things you got to consider when you're thinking about buying direct or buying a resale. But since I have my direct contract with the Polynesian, we've looked at, possibly buying something like Old Key West or something like, Saratoga Springs or, just another contract to have those points to play with because, you really can save a ton of money with your DVC. I mean, it's great.
I bought my Wilderness Lodge on resale, and I was kind of really jealous about all the perks of the lounge and the Gold Pass and Moonlight Magic and all these things. I'm like, I really want to do that. I put so much money into this, but how am I going to become a full-fledged member? And right before they decided to jack up the minimum points, if you're already a member, to I think 50, they were selling for 25. So you had to buy 25 points to become a full member. So I just jumped on the phone. I'm like, I need 25 points to anywhere. And they're like, I'm like, I even said, like, I'll buy Hilton Head. They go, oh, there's no way you're going to get Hilton Head. And I said, okay. Because I could probably get you Old Key West. I'm like, perfect. That's fine. And I only had about 3 weeks to close. And I was so nervous, but then in 3 days they had 25 points for me, and I was able to become a full-fledged member, which I'm really happy about. I did 3 Moonlight Magics, and I always have a Gold Pass. I try to take advantage of all the perks. I've been trying to get the behind-the-scenes tour of Soaring, but that is so hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's 100 points now too for the DVC member, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's recently raised it up, and now if you buy resale, you could pretty much only get the legacy hotels, right? And anything after Riviera, you can't.
Correct.
So they're trying to stop resale, which I don't agree with, but I don't know the whole background of it. It does kind of suck that people. That's the only thing I kind of is bad about the resale now is people feel that the value is just not there, and I'm not sure how easy it is to resell your DVC.
Yeah,
Disney,
Disney will block it sometimes because
they could, yeah,
they have the right of first refusal. Yep. So,
and I was very happy mine, wasn't. And I and like I said, I had 210 points that were going to expire, and I called up my DVC reseller every single day trying to have them close as soon as possible so I could book my room, and they were able to close it very soon. Yeah. So the one thing I want to ask everyone is, everyone here is, a lot of hotels are going to be expiring 2042. So what do you think is going to happen? Do you think they're going to extend it? Do you think they're going to offer some kind of deal? What do you think?
It'll be paid. It'll be a paid extension if they do it. I don't think they'll do what they did with Old Key West, where they actually just gave.
It was $15 a point.
Mm-hmm. That was $15 a point. Yeah, a lot of people didn't do it. They didn't think it was gonna. I guess they didn't think it was gonna be worth it. So they only had
because everybody who bought Old Key West is older. They're they're probably in their 70s now. Who bought it Old Key West for the most part, on average, 60s and 70s, and they're like, what am I going to do with it another 15 years?
Yeah. Now the question would be to you: would you pay to extend it? Do you in your mind see yourself at this value with your children and their children to go ahead and actually pay to extend out the points? Because I think that's the one thing you have to think about is the whole promise is our points will buy us the same vacation today as it will 25 years down the road.
Yeah,
in the sense of a room.
But.
My guess
they are going higher.
I don't think they're going to do an extension. I think they're just going to open it up to new buyers. That's my opinion. I think once Wilderness Lodge, whatever it's 2042 or whatever it is, I think that they'll just be like, all right, your contract is terminated, and if you want to purchase here, it's going to be $300 a point.
But see, that's where I would have issue with that in the sense of, I mean, again, I bought way after probably both of you did, and I don't know for sure. I'm only I'm in my 6th year as a DVC member, but I know even when I bought in direct, point cost was, I think it was $155 a point, and which is crazy to think about that. At one point it was half of that, and now we're what, $215 a point? I think is what it is now. I got to look that up. 205, 215.
I bought. I've been 14 years now, so I bought Wilderness Lodge retail, and it was $85 a point.
Wow.
And I think it was selling new for 100, something like that.
Yeah, I think
I
I got mine about 5 years ago, and I bought Wilderness Lodge for $97 a point, I think.
That's a great deal, by the way. Wow, $97.
I think it was. Don't take my word for it. It's been a while, but yeah.
The show's starting to run long here, but the one other thing I want to say is not a lot of people. I don't really ever talk about it. Was back in 1990, I think it was 98, 99, something like that. I almost bought at Old Key West, and I was like, I was living at home at the time with my parents, and I almost bought Old Key West. Just because, because I love going to Disney, and I think it was 99. I think it was 98. It's actually 97 or 98. And I wanted to do it so bad. I was so close to doing it because I was right there, and it wasn't that expensive. I remember at the time. I think it was like $16,000 for 150 points or something like that. And I'm like, I could do this. And I didn't do it. I regret that every time I think about it. I really regret
now,
that.
At the beginning, they offered like park tickets too.
Yeah, they did. Annual passes. Yeah, for till the end of the decade or something like that. Yeah. So I wish I would have, but it is what it is.
Yep.
I do have to say it's definitely worth it. It's one less headache when you look for a hotel. It's like, okay, hotel is taken care of.
Exactly.
And then, and then you just have to look for flights, and that's pretty much it. Now, starting next year, you're gonna look for transportation.
Right. Well, just an example. Like I booked May for Beach Club. Right. The kids don't know it yet. And I think for 5 nights, I think it's 70 points or something, close to like 70 points. I pay just a shy over $900 in maintenance fees. I only have 125 points, so $900 in maintenance fees. And if I'm going 5 nights for $900, you tell me who's getting a great deal.
That's fantastic. I mean, and especially with the accommodations that you have, like we used points this last summer, or actually this last September, because the times opened up for us. But we booked at Riviera because there was availability, and of course, with your DVC points, you can book outside of your home resort within once you get to the 7-month window. And there was like 4 consecutive days, so we booked it, and I mean, those studios were very nice because, again, they have the split bathroom, huge size room. And we kept thinking, had I paid out of pocket to stay here, I mean, it would have been, you looked at the rack rate, it's like $600 a night. And, again, that wasn't even half of our points for use. But, we could still come back for a couple days. And, so definitely a good idea. If you, I would say, for those of you coming down first time, and you see the DVC, if you go for the informational, that's fine. I definitely wouldn't buy DVC unless Disney is for you, because again, it is a long-term investment, and this is really where you're going to get the best use of your points, is the Disney vacations, not on the exchange. That's not to say you can't get a good vacation on the exchange, but they're meant to be used here at Walt Disney World or at Disneyland, or that type of thing. So,
and if you're planning on staying at Disney and you're staying with a big big family, I would recommend even DVC rental. Just renting these DVC points, you'll notice the price difference is so much lower. Don't expect it to stay at a lot of the popular ones because it's actually someone trying to rent out their points, and it's really hard to book maybe Bay Lake at last minute. It's definitely something that you would have to plan ahead of time because you can't just do like a last minute trip and expect like one of the best hotels to be available.
The
But
other thing you
it's
have to
definitely
remember when
worth
you rent, though, is that once you rent and you're committed, there's no turning back. It's not like
You gotta pay
you're
full.
with Disney. Yeah, you got to pay in full up front. It's not like you're Disney, 30 days out, you can cancel. You can't do that.
Yep. So be careful who you rent from. That's the moral of that story. I've heard some very dangerous things, but there's plenty of reputable groups too. So, just do your research, your homework. Make sure.
Yeah, I would look for some rental services. Don't go on a Facebook page. Be like, oh, does anybody want to rent out their points? Because they could cancel anytime and they have your money. A lot of the places that, like the DVC rental stores online, they're insured and they make sure that you're accommodated.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. Very
All right,
good.
guys. I think we're good on this episode. I'm going to close it out. Anybody else got anything quick to say?
No.
No.
All right. I've got the spiel, so here it goes. That's going to do it for this week, but first we want to thank our sponsors, Kingdom Strollers. Get your premium stroller and crib rental at kingdomstrollers.com. Let the vacation experts at mousepros.com help plan your next perfect Disney vacation. Don't forget to check out our store at redbubble.com/Tiki Talk Podcast. You can connect with us on social media. Find us on Facebook at Channel Tiki Talk, Instagram and Twitter at Tiki Talk Podcast. You can also leave us a message on the Tiki Talk hotline, 256-4MyTiki. That's 256-469-8454 if you really want to do it. And if you enjoy the show, please take the time to rate us on iTunes. I'm also going to say you can find me at Twitter at OneMinutedDisneyDream. That's OneMIN Disney Dream. MouseWorldVacations.com, MousePros.com. You can find Keith at the Drop Rope Life, the Dope Rope Life, or something like that on Instagram. You can find Matt at Matt Goes Dopey, I think, on Instagram. That's it.
You can find me on all social media networks at Brian Tesseroni. It's TESORONI.
And you can find me over on Twitter at DisneyDad23. I usurp the other 22.
So special thanks to Steve for the news this week. Make sure you check out Disney Diary for all your Disney news. Alan, take it away. Boom shakalaka. There you go.
So you're going in May?
So far,
Thanks
so good.
for listening this week. For Sean
have,
and Keith, I'm Alan. And this has been
passes or
Enchanted
anything, or
Tiki
you're just
Talk.
gonna buy tickets?
Aloha.
Hey, we got tickets. We have to get tickets.
Are you doing a DVC deal?
Don't
Don't they have a ticket deal?
I don't think so.